Now that we're done with the texturing, we're gonna move on to the last bit, which is like putting back everything in Maya. Okay, so let's go to Maya. Right, so we're gonna close this one, and then we're gonna close that one. Now, I prefer like everything to be nice and clean. So again, after you do some UV, make sure like all these like stacks is clean up by clicking this. Okay, and if there's any value, whatever, like just also freeze it up. Okay, now we're gonna put the texture that we did in Photoshop back in Maya. So first we're gonna create like new material. So I'm just gonna choose Lambert, right? And if this doesn't shows up, you press Ctrl A, right? And you go to Lambert, whatever you or material that you put in. In this case is Lambert, right? And you go to color. And again, one of the reasons why we do UV is that if you don't have like UV, right, you are limited to only like choosing color. Like you can put a texture, right, and you can only choose like whatever colors is given here. Okay, and this is one of the advantage that if you use UV to put a texture. Okay, so we click this button. So whatever you see this icon, that means you can like put something in there. Okay, you click this one, right, and here you choose file, right, because we're gonna choose the file that we just create. Okay, now I'm gonna open this thing called Hypershade, right? I think we covered this like previously. So this is more on a graphical note as compared to the text-based that we do. Okay, so we just create this thing called Lambert 2. So if I click this, right, so right now this is my Lambert 2. So this is basically the same thing as that one. So if I rename this to whatever, this also get update. Okay, so this is again the graphical representation of what you're doing here. Okay, so it can be easier for some people to see. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this on. Okay, so while I'm doing the connection here, watch what happens with the Hypershade. Okay, so this will also get updated. So again, I'm gonna click this, right, and I'm gonna click File, right, because we're gonna put the file that we just create in Photoshop. Okay, click that. Okay, so as soon as I click that file, this Hypershade also get updated, and it will create like the connection for you. Okay, so this file, right, file 1 is that one. Okay, so if you miss any of this step, you can just open Hypershade, right, and click the file, and it will open up this for you. Okay, and again, we're just gonna put the file that we create. So click the icon and choose the correct one. So I put this on my texture folder, and I'll choose this one, obviously. Okay, and I'll press open, right, and if this doesn't shows up, you press 6. Okay, because 4 is wireframe, 5 is the basic color, right, and 6 is the texture mode. And now I can see the texture is already loaded. And again, like as I mentioned before, if you forget to hide the wireframe, right, see this line is also will get shown back in Maya. Okay, so make sure you go back to Photoshop and hide it, file, and then save this again. Okay, so I'm going to overwrite the file that we just created. Yes, yeah, ever, go back to Maya, click this one, and with the Hypershade open, or you can go to your material, you can click the arrow, right, so the arrow will take you to the next node in the hierarchy. Okay, so you can either click this guy, find the material, click arrow, or open Hypershade and just click file. It's the same thing, it will take you to that file node. This is the one that we're going to be looking, and we just click reload, so it will update. Okay, so this is basically how you texture crates in Maya. Okay, and again, this is just like a matter of alignment. You can try to flip, so you might have to cut and flip and adjust this nicely. But yeah, this is what we call seam. Okay, so this is when this border edge, right, meet the other edge. Okay, so this edge and this edge will meet together. So you kind of need to match the position of this crate. I mean, not the crate, but this like plaster on the crate, like nicely from that to that. Okay, so you might need to Control T, and you might have to adjust it, right? So the plaster will rest nicely just on that edge. Okay, and fixing the seam can be quite difficult, right? Especially like if you have a very complex object and the seam just resting on that particular spot. Okay, and you might need to use like a special software like Substance to kind of like fix the seam for you easier. And now, like you see, like there's like missing, so you have to go back to Photoshop, and you might need to turn on the wireframe again, and you have to find like what happened to the missing, or there's a gap, missing tag. Okay, so this one like need to be scale like a bit bigger. Okay, and that's how you fix like the seam. Okay, so I'm just gonna save this one more time. And reload. Okay, so there's a lot of like going back and forth, right, to fix the seam. Okay, and this is very obvious. So I think like this one are supposed to be on that side, so you have to flip it. So you have to go back to Photoshop, and then you might have to kind of cut and okay. So I'm using M to make the selection. So this is the icon or the menu. A bit more. Control X, Control V, and Control T to rotate, and then let's see if it does fix the problem. Okay, so this is basically what we're going to do for the whole term, just like UV Unwrap, putting texture for your object in the scene.